हम तीनों सोए नहीं है 3 दिन से.
I feel that void
Yeah.
sometimes.
If it makes you feel something even for a moment, what's the harm in that? Then you just go for it.
The idea is to keep doing shit. He said his father was not supportive. Then he has to be that Sankhi, to I want to do this, I'm going to figure it out.
मैं तो करूँगा ही. मतलब what is this? Let's just start. Let's
His
just
hair
start.
looking good. Arnav's
Okay.
hair always look good.
I think we have to start this podcast by addressing the fact that we took 4 hours to set up for this, which is a good thing because आज तक मेरे जितने भी पॉडकास्ट हुए हैं वो सिर्फ आधे एक घंटे में मैं सेटअप करता हूँ. एक लाइट होती है और हम शूट कर लेते हैं. हम तीनों सोए नहीं हैं 3 दिन से. Why is that? Why is our job like that?
I slept a day before, but that was 3 days of non-stop work until yesterday. It's how the industry works. I think that's a lot of pressure on you. So initial years, you are just hustling day and night, and it keeps going on.
यार बाकी सब लोग अगर दिन में काम कर रहे हैं हम लोग रात को क्यों काम कर रहे हैं?
Two reasons why this could be. One is either you really love your work so much that you don't even think about time, you don't even realize about it. The other being that you are charging less, working more because of the desperation or just because you want to get that thing done. The other is where you love your work so much that it's a constant battle between both the scenarios.
But we can all agree, right, that at least at the start, it takes a few all-nighters.
For me, it's a gateway, bro. I don't consider it as a bad thing. I consider it as a blessing because it's a gateway to my dreams. You're not just, doing creative stuff. You're designing a creative life. So you live like that, and you talk like that, and you think like that. These are the dreams that keep you awake. So that is the drive. That's why sometimes no sleep, sometimes a lot of sleep.
I think all this does not matter when you're really focused and you know what you're doing. And as he said, it's just a gateway because that is what is needed to make you reach there.
Passion hai, ek motivation hai, and you know that this is what I have to do to achieve my dreams. This city, Mumbai, right? It's a city of storytellers. Everybody is telling some story. But there are some people who take it more seriously than others do. The three of us being creatives, हमें story ही बतानी है, right? All the time.
Yeah.
What is that passion?
All the stories and none of the stories matter at the same time. Would the world not be the same without these stories? Maybe, maybe not. Who cares? But do I find a personal meaning when I'm creating these stories? There have been great storytellers in this industry, in this city, in the world. I think there's enough inspiration. If you want to go out there, you can read books. You can find a lot of people.
I'm sure a lot of people who are even seeing this must have gone through it sometimes when you create something and it looks like a reference you would pick out of. That feeling that when you create something and it looks so good that this could be a reference for someone else, you just know it that it's great. We are not in a structured job thing where we get validation from a bonus or an appraisal or something like that. All the validation we get is usually out of what people talk or think about
किसी
our
ने
work.
बोल दिया कि यार क्या अच्छा वीडियो बनाया है.
Yeah,
Right.
that
That
is
is enough
one
motivation,
validation.
yeah.
Another thing is, okay, you are charging something and you're getting paid for it and you have enough work. When you attach yourself to creating something like that, it's also more about, it kind of becomes a part of your identity, right?
It's funny because when I started my journey, system bhi broken hua karta tha, bro. But like I had these drives. I used to make very small videos, with a vision. I just watched some movie, I read a book, I found some inspiration, and then there was this desire to create. That comes from inside. It does not come from seeing other people. Because if it worked like that, everyone would be a creative. Even though you might not have the tools, the resources that are needed for it, but if there's a vision, that is enough motivation to get it going.
You know, when you talk about your work, the emotion that comes to me is कि आपके पास बहुत ज़्यादा conviction है about whatever you're doing. You know, confidence is the energy that gets you to do all of these things. And I know for a fact that confidence is not something that anybody is born with. It comes after a lot of failures. It comes after going through so many tests कि आपको अपने ऊपर वो confidence आ जाता है. What was that point in your life where you were like, okay, now I know that this is what I'm going to do. This is a creative field. This is art. And मैं यही करने वाला हूँ और तो मेरे से कुछ होएगा नहीं.
My journey has not been as hard as him or as many others that must be seeing this, but I was always good with art in whatever form. So even since school, everything I've done, I've always been inclined towards art. I always wanted to do architecture, and I didn't get the 50% to be eligible for architecture, which was sad. So I was like, okay, my family business is construction and real estate development and all of that. So I decided that okay, interior design is not something that we do, so let me go to that. When I was doing that is when I got introduced to photography, and my brother, who was in America that time, sent me this camera when he was with it. He bought this camera for me and he knew I was inclined towards photography and I like it. So just as a hobby, he gifted me this camera, which was like the best gift I've ever got. I've never thanked my brother for it, but yeah. हमारे college में case studies देते थे, so everyone used to pick images from Google and all of that, and I used to go shoot all of this, like arches and different architecture around Bombay. So that's when I decided I wanted to just assist a photographer. Very lucky that I got a mentor, Apurva Shah, who used to challenge me to do more and more. So, and that's how I honed my skill. Then I decided, okay, I'm liking this. I want to pursue this further. And then I got into the education of photography.
So the conviction comes from trying out multiple things.
You have to try. You can't just.
You have to figure it out. आपको
yeah,
पता नहीं
yeah.
लग जाएगा ऐसे कि मुझे क्या करना है. And the turning point may have been that camera, right?
Camera is just a tool. Whatever you have in your mind, it's allowing you to put it out there. If I didn't have a camera, maybe I would have tried painting. I don't know. So even when I was assisting with photographers, I used to try and assist the makeup artists also. I wanted to be around this field. So
पता तो होना चाहिए.
yeah, even if I was not assisting, I used to keep asking questions. It got to a point where I understood makeup really, really well.
Saurav, do you have a turning point?
Yeah, bro, there have been many, not just one. You only have got 4 career options if you are from a middle class.
Doctor, engineer, lawyer,
Yeah.
UPSC.
Yeah, something like that, or something along the lines, or you just get a secure government job or something. But I didn't want it to be any of that. I was just done with engineering. I didn't want to go to college anymore. I was not going to college anymore. So I thought I should just explore this as an option. Then I called my father one day and I just told him that this is what I want to do. But because I was always fluctuating in my career and my life choices, he couldn't trust me with it. I wanted to get into Whistling Woods, or firstly it was NYFA, but then that dream was too far away. So I thought, okay, something in India. I came to Bombay. I loved Bombay. At least when you see this glittering city for the first time, everything is just shiny. If you have ever been to Sobo, if you have ever done a Sobo tour,
Yeah.
you fall in love with that shit because
Yeah.
you have seen it in movies, ads. There's not like all the movies that I used to love as a
Already
kid.
romanticized है, आपको effort
अच्छा,
डालना नहीं पड़ेगा.
फिल्मों की बात कर लेते हैं, वेकअप सेट, ठीक है. और बॉम्बे को कौन सी मूवीज ने रोमांटिसाइज किया है? देयर वाज दिस गैंगस्टर मूवी with this guy
Imran Hashmi.
Imran Hashmi.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, that Jannat, all the Bollywood, like 2000s Bollywood, it was based around Sobo. I'm coming from a small town. All the exposure that I had was from YouTube. So to see this city living and breathing, it's an experience in itself. After that, I just got a small camera, like he did. That is a tool. That is a magical tool. Once it's in your hands, it opens up a lot of options of what you could be doing in life.
जादू हैरी
Yeah.
पॉटर के अंदर है, पर उसको जादू
right,
करने के
right.
लिए
It's not
छड़ी
in
की
the wand,
जरूरत
bro.
है.
It's not in the wand. So
I'm telling you, like
Yeah.
I've seen some of
Yeah.
his other work, which we were just seeing few days back. He didn't need a camera. He shot a lot with his phone.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure even you've seen a lot of it, and it's just crazy. He still had a vision. So I think again, camera is just a tool, even for him. Like I feel.
So I just used to go out with my camera and just shoot anything that I could and make something out of it. So by doing this, I started traveling throughout India. I traveled almost 21, 22 states. Back then, I'm talking 2020, 1920. This is what I did for a whole 6, 8 months. Find the cheapest accommodations, find the cheapest tickets, travel by trains or whatever means necessary. Once I was in Kerala, everyone is going on houseboats. Houseboats are like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 a night. I wanted to find a cheaper alternative. I saw that local people probably are doing something because they are going on the same route, scenic backwaters, but they are not paying this much. I'm pretty sure. And I get to know that there's a small counter. वहाँ पे जाओ, वहाँ से उन्होंने मुझे backwaters पे भेज दिया on a boat that locals usually travel in. And I traveled through like 12 villages. फिर मैं वापस आता हूँ 12 village. And then they ask me for money. And I ask how much is it? They tell me 20 rupees
अरे
for a
वाह.
6-hour ride.
Amazing.
So that was insane. So then the traveling just opened up a whole world of possibilities to me until I had hit his profile. That is when a world full of possibilities again came in front of me. Fashion was something I was not even remotely interested in. But just by looking at the imagery, okay, you can create something like this, you can create something very interesting like this. And I had not been exposed to this.
अगर आपने वो मूवी देखी Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear the music? It's fine if you don't know how to do algebra, but can you visualize the particles and the atoms? And that is what art is, right? You don't need to know how to read the sheet music. आपको आपके दिमाग में सारे टाइम गाना बज रहा होता है.
When you are too determined to make something happen, you cut all the bullshit out. Okay, everyone around you is telling you to be just don't try something new.
आपको पता है, आपको दिख रहा है,
Don't
आपको
dream
दिख
so
रहा है.
far.
सीधा बात है. If you don't know how to do things,
Right.
you either
Right.
learn it, you find people who do it. The important thing is you have an idea of how to bring it to life is what is important. Everything else doesn't matter.
A lot of voices in the world with their own opinions, but they are coming from their worlds. When they are speaking, they are not coming from your experience. They are not going to live your life. So these are just opinions. So you have to stay true to your voice. What is your inner voice calling?
मोर और लेस दो तरह की फोर्सेज होती हैं लाइफ में. देर आर कंस्ट्रक्टिव फोर्सेज एंड देर आर chaotic forces, and it's a spectrum. You can be on that wide spectrum, right? I've just noticed that a lot of creative people, they are very attracted towards that chaotic side. We go towards divergence.
Bro, life is chaos.
Life is chaos, right? But there's a huge chunk of society, they are following a certain set of rules. But then there is the creative minds, the counter culture, जो लेकिन नहीं, मुझे जो लोग बाकी लोग कर रहे हैं मुझे वो तो करना ही नहीं है, मुझे कुछ और करना है. So what is that attraction towards chaos? Is it something?
No, but this is also a very big space. A lot of people are also creatives, right?
Objectively speaking, अगर हम politics में जाएं, if 90% of our country makes less than 25,000 rupees a month, तो वो creative field में बहुत कम होंगे उनमें से, right?
For sure.
We are probably the top 1%.
Privileges.
I think it's also a luxury or privilege to do something like this.
Yeah.
Completely.
He said his father was not supportive or something. Then he has to be that Sankhi, I want to do this, I'm going to figure it out. It's my life.
What is this attraction कि मैं तो करूँगा ही, मतलब what is this?
It's belief, I think. You really want to put out something which you see something you want it. जब तक वो नहीं मिलेगा वो रहता है.
रोज याद आता है.
It's the void there.
Is that why I feel that void sometimes?
If it makes you feel something even for a moment, what's the harm in that? Then you just go for it.
So many people don't understand that. कितनी सिंपल सी बात है. अगर आपको कुछ करके अच्छा लग रहा है आप कर लो. काफ़ी सारे लोग कर नहीं पाते हैं और काफ़ी सारे लोग जो कर सकते हैं उनको डर लगता है करने.
Well, bro, we are blessed and lucky that we get to do this,
Definitely, very
and there are times we find it very challenging to do this, to get up. Like even after like I was on a 3-day rickroll, doing stuff, shooting an ad campaign, and then so I did not really had the energy to even do this podcast. But then you just get up, you look in the mirror, you tell yourself that you got to do it. And once you are at the place, then you find peace. If you have found peace, you keep going.
Attraction towards chaos and things going haywire and that unpredictability. We enjoy that as creatives, right? कभी आपने ऐसे shoots किए हैं जो थोड़े run and gun थे, थोड़े unplanned थे?
Always. We still do.
And it went horribly wrong.
So there was this shoot happening, and I was gonna shoot Madhuri Dixit alongside this photographer, and it was just like a general commercial thing, and we are waiting. We are there. I've brought a bunch of lilies to give it to Madhuri, and we were there, and the excitement was there. It was in Radisson. After 2 hours, Madhuri arrives. The moment she enters the room, and I'm just checking the camera and everything, if everything is all right, and there was this long lens attached to the camera, and somehow I just go off balance. I trip on a wire, and the camera goes off. And I pick it up, and it's telling me camera error. Yeah, I know, right? And this photographer, he's just looking at me, and he's cussing me left, right, and center. And I'm like, God, please make this work. I don't even believe in God. At that day, I was just praying that something. Yeah. Lucky for me, I just turn it off, turn it back again. It fires up. Give it a whack, bro. Give it a whack.
So even after all of these failures या फिर mistakes, क्या आप अभी भी run and gun unplanned shoots करते हो?
Bro, life is not perfect. We are into documentation a lot of times. Ask any great artist, they'll tell you it's the whole legacy is built on top of mistakes.
See, I know you're the chaos leaning one, so I expect this answer from you. Munjal, what do you think?
I'll tell you what. Failures is what makes you better, right? The idea is to keep doing shit. So I must have done at least 300-400 shoots before I actually got into the market. Now these shoots, all of them were not good. I mean, say maybe 80% of them might be shit. But I've learned something out of it, right? These little fuck ups that happen, you are kind of ready for it. And sometimes you can predict that this might happen, you'll have a plan B.
So 70% of shoots are planned. 30% you just don't know. We are not those kind of creatives who will get A to Z like in a straight manner. Right? A lot of times this process is non-linear.
वैसे budgets भी नहीं मिलते हैं.
Exactly.
Budget मिलेंगे तो भी
नहीं तो भी makeshift.
Everything can't be in your control, right?
कुछ तो
So
जुगाड़
you
होएगा ही.
focus on what is in your control, you can make and you do the best on that. Whatever is not in your control is where your experience is going to count. So be
now
prepared for that.
what is not in control, and if you can still make it beautiful, if you can still make art, there's beauty in it.
That is something which you feel good at. That is also validation, by the way.
It is.
Fuck ups जो होते हैं ना, 2 arenas में होते हैं in the creative field. One happens when you're creatively stuck on something. आपको idea नहीं आ रहा, आप बस screen के सामने timeline खोल के बैठे हुए हो. And you know कि मैं जितना मर्जी सोच लूँ कुछ आएगा नहीं. I just have to wait for God to airdrop it to me at some point. Then there are fuck ups that happen on the business side. पहले वाला you enjoy a lot. You know it's part of the process. आपको पता है कि वो आएगा और तभी अच्छा आएगा. The business side of things, that is something you're constantly trying to optimize, constantly trying to reevaluate. Creative process internal hai, business interactions are always external. So how do you balance these two things? How do you balance the creativity aspect and the money aspect?
I was never very business oriented. Things happen, they go south business wise. I'm like, it's okay, it was not in my control, or I made a mistake. I don't cry over something that's happened. Just move on and make sure next time it's a little better. Again, it might happen again also.
ये अभी की चीज़ है कि पहले आप रो के अब ये सीखा
Somehow
है.
I've always been like that in my personal life. I don't cry on things which have not been in my control. I get the most out of it, and whatever else, I don't really focus on that.
Rumination नहीं है. बस
No,
what's
I've
next?
luckily I've always been like that. I realize that. I don't know how it's come. Maybe my father or my mother were like that. I think my father was a lot like that.
So आपका expectation ही है कि कुछ ना कुछ failure तो होने वाला है. That is the sort of mindset कि okay, I'm prepared for anything to go wrong today. That's why I'm getting out of my bed.
No, I don't even think like that. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, great.
Very wise.
I don't even think
Keep rolling
क्या
with it, bro.
होने वाला है कुछ
Yeah,
गलत.
yeah.
I don't go. I'm not in that negative mind space also.
Bro, yeah, but it takes time to even build the mindset.
You've always had it, right?
I think so. Yeah. I think even as
आपके
a
पास
kid,
तो
I've
नहीं
No,
always
no,
been
no,
like
bro. I had to work very, very hard for this.
क्या क्या किया है? कौन से पापड़ बेले?
It's just a lot of right questions you keep asking yourself. You know, there's no clarity at first, you know, because you're running here and here, your mind is constantly all over the place. So you need to give it a space where you can feel safe. And now you tell yourself, okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and then you move with confidence and resilience and perseverance. All of that comes after. First, you just have to get in the right mindset of doing things, of doing the right thing for you.
And coming to the business versus art side of things,
Bro, my father is a businessman. Okay, my mother. So I am a combination of both of them. My mom used to do a lot of creative stuff back then. She had this Yashica camera, वो film roll नहीं होता है. So cheap ass camera जो फिर उसके बाद वो develop होने जाता है. So she used to take a lot of photographs. So we have albums and albums of photographs that was just taken by my mom. Food she makes, it's art. The rangoli she makes, that is art. She writes stuff. So I get a lot of inspiration from her. And about my father, he's a through and through businessman. Post COVID, I actually assisted him in business for a year and a half.
tractors.
So yeah. So I think I have interacted with a lot of farmers. So it was a completely different side of world for me, where I'm dealing with farmers. I'm getting to know their problems. I'm going to the remotest villages possible where there's no phone network. And these people, they do not even speak Hindi or English. And once you have understood the basics of business, once you have understood how people conduct business, how do they market it, how do you reach out to people, a lot of business is just talking. Find spaces that are interesting to you. You just find people that are interesting to you, and business happens itself. Also, there's a lot of no's, you know. So you were asking about me about failures. For me, I embrace it. Every single day, me and him, we are just calling, firing people up. And we
Failure is
just
a
know
good thing.
no is the default answer, bro. 99 out of 100 times,
You will
no
be
is the
okay
answer.
listening to no's.
So I'm sure you have been through it. जहाँ पे no is an everyday answer, but you keep going through it. It hurts at first. You feel really bad about it that this is not for you. You know, after a point, you just get so comfortable in your own skin. You know, this is what I'm gonna do, even if it does not work out.
Bro, the whole reason I'm doing this podcast is because now I've stopped caring about the outcome. Right now I'm having this conversation with you two because I enjoy having conversations with people, and you're two people I appreciate. So I'm just enjoying this. मेरे लिए outcome matter ही नहीं करता है. When you were talking about your mom's photography, right? Do you think creativity is inherently a feminine energy? A man, you can be a man or
No,
a
no,
woman.
I got your question.
राइट वो जो एनर्जी आप एक आदमी के अंदर भी एक फेमिनिन एनर्जी ही क्रिएटिविटी जगा रही है शायद से.
The topic is going a little spiritual,
हाँ एग्जैक्टली.
but then a man has a feminine side to him. A businessman is also a creative person.
I was just coming to that because I don't think it's we often see creative कि ऐसा art ऐसा होता है, but even a businessman is creative ना. अगर
The
वो उसको
decisions
deal
you are,
stack
yeah,
कर रहा है,
the
उसको-
patterns of decisions you are
I'll tell
making.
you a very simple thing. Like even my wife, she's a partner with me at the studio. There are a lot of times where I ask her also. I know she's not maybe good with photography or art or something, but she has creative ideas to. If I really push her also, she does come up with creative ideas for like even on the business front. So I think that also is creativity, right?
I have a way to negate this. I'll tell you. Let's assume कि आर्ट है, कोई भी आर्ट का एक पीस है, वो आपका एक बच्चा है. एक बच्चे को आप पाल के कैसे बड़ा करते हो? माँ बाप होते हैं बच्चे के, वही उसको पाल के बड़ा करते हैं. माँ क्या करती है? माँ प्यार देती है, एक्सेप्टेंस देती है, वार्मथ देती है. पापा क्या करते हैं? पापा रियलिटी चेक्स देते हैं. Mom is the nurturing side of things, and dad is the reality checks, toughening up side of things. Both of those together come to create something. I'm saying कि but these are still opposite forces, right? एक force जो है वो आपको बोल रही है कि तुम soft हो जाओ, और एक force आपको बोल रही है कि तुम hard हो जाओ.
Yeah, even like when I started this journey, a lot of my relatives, they were very reluctant. They were telling me that, oh, you're not gonna make it. It's gonna be a waste. You're going to waste your life doing this, you know. So my mom, throughout those years, she always believed in me.
एक बड़ी अच्छी चीज़ हुई थी मेरे साथ ना. एक दिन मैं ऐसे कुछ, मैं परेशान रहता हूँ सारे टाइम ना, मेरी आदत है, मुझे मज़ा आता है. तो मैं ऐसे परेशान होकर सड़क पे चल रहा था, एंड आई हर्ड दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन समवन वाज हैविंग ओवर अ फोन. एक फ्रूट सेलर किसी अपने दोस्त को या कुछ बोल रहा था. वो उसने कहा कि एक आदमी जो होता है ना, वो सिर्फ औरत को ही कह सकता है, आदमी को नहीं कह सकता है.
Which is true.
आपने यही चीज़ बोली ना
Which
अभी.
is true because even then, like my ex-girlfriend, you know, she supported whatever I was doing through and through. It was like the emotional support is also very much needed. The girl that I am with now, she is an insane support to anything and everything I'm doing, you know. And then I just realized every time I'm moving with 4 or 5 times more force because now you have got a very strong support system that acts with your foundations.
My mother has obviously faced a very difficult time even growing up. She's never told me don't do this, don't do that. She made it happen anyhow. उनको घर पे कुछ भी बोलना पड़ा because as I said I've switched a lot of career options and choices
Yeah,
in my
women
head.
know how to make space.
Even with my wife, like I even the studio that we're sitting in today, this happened after I got married to her. I never wanted to make a studio. She made it happen thinking that okay, it is going to help Munjal, it's going to help us both. And that's how it happened. So
And somehow we have been together since
कैसे
his
ना
marriage.
कैसे तो
Yeah.
it's really pushed me also, right?
You shot for his wedding, na?
Yeah, the only
Yeah,
wedding I
that's how we
shot
met.
in my life. I don't regret it. No, I think we got really close after that, and we even back then like this idea of having this business. I still remember I didn't had money back then to travel in cabs or anything. So I just asked him, "Can you just drop?" We just had a meeting, we just had a shoot day or something, and after that I just asked him like if he can drop me off to Sian, and then we just stopped somewhere in between, and we were having this conversation about creating this business, creating a production house, making something really insane. So that idea was planted like 4 or 5 years ago. So business and business people, whoever you're doing in business with, everything in this is about relationships and the people.
मेरी टीम मेरे पास आती है जब उनको कोई क्लाइंट परेशान कर रहा होता है, एंड दे आस्क मी लाइक व्हाट डू आई से टू देम. कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है. आई एम लाइक से टू देम व्हाट यू वुड से टू योर गर्लफ्रेंड हु इज अपसेट. It's not about
Understand their
reason.
emotional aspect
It's not
is
about
what you are
reason. It's
telling
not
them.
about logic. You have to understand the emotions of that person. कि वो चाहता क्या है actually, right?
You have to understand them emotionally, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
क्योंकि
So
बेच तो आप इंसान को रहे हो ना, आप business को थोड़ी बेच रहे हो.
yes, bro, I have had this problem, and I used to learn this from Munjal all the time because he was very calm with business, like how he conducted business. The same client that I would have a shit ton of problems with, this guy is absolutely having no problems.
Whenever I'm working with someone, it's more from a point of view that okay, now I'm on board as a team member. Now we need to just service this client in the best way possible. मेरा ही business है ये. अभी मैं क्या कर सकता हूँ इसके लिए? So that is my approach. Sometimes it works out great for me. Sometimes it does not. Sometimes I feel abused, but it's okay. I'm happy at the end of the day. I have a good client. I have a good relationship with them. I'm in touch with. I don't think I've lost a lot of clients till now. I even if I have lost, it's never been because of any issues. Otherwise, it's just been maybe
They are on a
they've
different
moved
journey.
on,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
I've
yeah.
moved
They're on a
on,
different
or
journey. You are on a different. You just part ways sometimes in
and
business as well.
I can still, I think, call any of them up and get guidance or whatever I need from them. And a lot of times, a lot of them have gone. I've stopped working. I've given them other photographers to work with, and now when they've come to when they've also grown, they've come back to me.
If you've formed a relationship with a client, you haven't formed that relationship with that company. वो कंपनी बंद हो जाएगी, वो क्लाइंट किसी और कंपनी में जाएगा ना, वो आपको ही हायर करेगा.
वो भी हुआ मेरे साथ.
Exactly, right?
I worked with someone जो खुद के कंपनी पे काम करता था, अब वो कहीं और है. They've reached out to me, and I think I've done already 5-6 shoots for them since the last 2 years. आज की तारीख में इतने लोग आ गए इंडस्ट्री में, trust is become a big issue. Even one of my clients that we just shot with, she like, your strong point is not your photography, it's not any, like you'll find other photographers who will still do, will do equal or
एक
better
photo
or
दो photo
whatever.
उसको क्या फर्क
But
पड़ता
it's
है?
dealing with you is very good and
Yeah,
simple and
yeah.
easy, and you're trustworthy.
Yeah, there are more aspects to business than just delivering good work, you know, or just delivering a good
So
product.
that is why I think that's working for me probably.
But see, everything that you both are saying ना, what it sounds to me like कि हाँ हम बस डटे हुए हैं, हमें बस करना है करना है करना है, हम पैशनेट हैं.
I forget about it the next
But
day.
Exactly.
what would we do otherwise?
I'll get to my point. The point is कि जो passion होता है ना, it's a beautiful force, ठीक है, but like everything it is very imperfect. Passion is very demanding. Passion asks so much of you. With this, I want to get into the things that we need to worry about if you're in this industry. I'm saying the amount of stress you are willing to put yourself in is so much more when you're passionate about something, even when you know it's not going to be very good for you. Even if it's a little bit damaging, you're like कि मैं passionate हूँ, मैं कर लूँगा, right? उसके कुछ negative implications होंगे आपकी health, physical, mental, emotional, psychological, right? I want to talk about that.
This is the last thing which will ever come into your mind if you are genuinely that passionate. Sometimes it might come, but at that point you are actually struggling. So, like as I said, अभी मेरा ये studio है, okay? There are obviously इसको लेके मैं इतना creative mindset से तो नहीं जाता as I do with my photography or something. I have visions, I have plans with it. Things don't work out, right? At that point, you will feel that pressure, or I will feel that thing what you're talking about.
Can I tell you where I'm coming from?
हाँ.
I'm super young. मुझे थोड़ा सा टाइम हुआ है इंडस्ट्री में एंड आई एम स्टिल एस्टैब्लिशिंग माई फुटिंग. अभी मैंने शुरू किया है, राइट? अ लिटिल बिट मोर इनसिक्योर देन यू गाइस प्रॉब्ली, बिकॉज आपने थोड़े टाइम के लिए किया, आपको पता है आपकी जगह क्या है, मुझसे बेटर एटलीस्ट, राइट? इस इनसिक्योरिटी में आई एम विलिंग टू पुट माई सेल्फ थ्रू मल्टीपल स्लीपलेस नाइट्स. आई एम विलिंग टू गो ऑल डे विदाउट फूड, बिकॉज शूट पे बाहर थे तो करना था, ठीक है, खाने का टाइम नहीं लगा. आई एम विलिंग टू लेट माई आईज बी बर्निंग बिकॉज आई हैव बीन स्टेयरिंग एट अ स्क्रीन फॉर 20 आवर्स ट्राइंग टू फिनिश एन एडिट, बट वो खत्म नहीं हो रहा है. बट मुझे पता है जब तक खत्म नहीं होगा तब तक मुझे करते रहना पड़ेगा.
You both told me you all have not slept 3 nights, right? Do you feel any of it right now?
Absolutely not.
Why?
क्योंकि I'm really happy being here, man.
So that thought doesn't cross your mind.
So
When you're
it,
doing what you love and you're getting to do what you're liking,
it brings you back in the present.
it
my
takes you
friend.
towards
Yeah.
it's actually spiritual. It gets you to a positive.
यार स्पिरिचुअली तो मैं बहुत नरिश हो गया हूँ इससे, राइट? बट चलो फिजिकल हेल्थ की बात करते हैं. आई थिंक वो तो हम बहुत इजीली इग्नोर
It's
कर देते
work,
हैं.
bro. It's work. You first don't like it, but you know if you want to keep doing this, you need to take care of that shit. None of us, you know, want to wake up at 4 in the morning, go for a run. What it takes to have this life, then that is what is needed to be done.
If you want it, you have to do it.
See, every work that you do, everything that you do will take a toll in some way on your health. Okay, my profession demands me to hold a 3, 4, 5 kg camera, bend in weird angles, and bend for longer time. My back is going to take
This
a
is
toll.
so much better than sitting in a cubicle, though.
I want to ask you now, Munjal. देखो हमने अभी मोटिवेटिंग बात तो कर दी है अबाउट द स्ट्रगल्स इन दिस फील्ड, राइट? कि भाई मतलब प्लीज बक अप, दिस इज व्हाट इट टेक्स. But now let's try and demotivate people a little bit so that people who are watching this episode tune out after this कि okay हमसे नहीं हो पाएगा. Tell me what has happened.
Definitely constant roller coaster emotionally because of what you love to do and you're able to do it or no,
Gets
all of that.
exhausting, bro.
Second, there are a lot of ideas you will have. You might be able to pull it off, you might not be able to pull it off. And validation you don't get often. This is personal to me. Like a lot of people do take care of that and they don't face any issues. But usually, as someone who's doing camera work, their backs and necks, they need to be really, really careful about that. I have personally felt had an issue where I've got a spinal problem now. Uh, Obviously, it was because of my lack of, strengthening my back and all of that. You need to be very, very clear in terms of who you want to work with, what kind of work you want to do. Figuring that out is the main issue, I feel. I'll tell you one point which I feel a lot of photographers miss. So, this field is very glamorous. So, you need to take yourself away from that.
The whole creative industry, you mean, not just photographers, cinematographers,
Yeah, whatever.
styling,
Like,
everything.
you take it
yeah.
modeling, makeup, whatever.
Take yourself away from that.
So you
इसी के लिए
need
तो
to.
नहीं कर रहे हैं हम, फेम के लिए तो कर रहे हैं, पैसे के लिए कर
That
रहे
is
हैं.
that is the initial idea. This is what appealed to me. Okay, this lifestyle, you know, you get to meet, you get to be around celebrities and people, and you get to go for insane shoots, and you're having fun all the time. That is how it looks. It's glam for maybe like 5% of the time. 95% of the time, once you get into it, once you start getting into it, you'll realize it's not glamorous at all. Most of the people who are at top, they know it's not glamorous. Even after having so many privileges, they still need to figure it out and make it work.
Shahrukh Khan says that he's not into films, he's into advertising.
I'll
Yeah,
put it this way.
that is where the money is apparently.
जो बात है ग्लैमर की, इवन दैट कैन बी द ड्राइविंग फोर्स जो तुमको ये डायरेक्शन में डाले, बट दैट कैन नॉट बी ऑल. सो आई हैव सीन अ लॉट ऑफ फोटोग्राफर्स wanting to get into this field just because they'll be, you know, interacting with models all the time. If you're really serious about photography as a subject and you're not in it only for the glamour bit, that is the first step that you will have to deglamorize yourself, because without that you cannot go forward. You will not want to grow yourself in the craft, all of that, because you're only in it for being around good looking people. Be in this field so that you interact with them, you can maybe date them. ये सब चलता है. And you must have also seen or heard of a lot of people.
There are so many men who do anything just to get laid.
The moment you realize that, okay, no, this is not the reason, I want to create good work, that's what I want to be known for, that's when the switch happens. You start doing good stuff, you start upskilling
रीजन
yourself.
जेन्युइन ही नहीं है तो फिर आप अच्छा काम कैसे करोगे?
Yeah, that could be a first initial thing to push you. Like as he said, he was fascinated by the glamour. That pushed him to do something in this field. Or maybe that was not the only reason. That could be one factor.
No, the first thing as an artist, you know, when you're just starting out and you are just seeking inspiration from the biggest ones out there, you know, you don't realize and you don't see a lot of people who are somewhere in between. Let's talk about Olympics, right? You only know people who are getting gold. You barely know someone
वो
who's getting
कितना
a bronze
भागा
as
होगा
well.
भाई, कितना भागा
But
हो.
think about it, so many people every year are just pitting against each other, and there's so much saturation in every space, especially in a country like India. People are competing for anything and everything, right? So वो जो बीच वाला जो space है, everyone who goes unnoticed there, is their work not worth something just because it's not visible? So visibility as an artist is a completely different point. It's not visibility does not guarantee that the work is good, and if your work is good, that does not guarantee you visibility. These are two different
Different
yeah,
things you'll have to
yeah,
work on
right,
separately,
right,
और
right.
दोनों साथ में चलेंगी तभी कुछ होएगा, right?
सबका खुद का जर्नी है. For an artist like you, him or me or you, it's more like you be true to what you set out to do. Your failures are your failures, your successes are your successes. You keep working towards it, and everything else that comes
But
doesn't mean you're not doing the work.
you need
Right?
to increase the surface area of luck just by putting yourself out there more, and you know, just
जाओगे नहीं
grabbing
तो
every
बिल्कुल
opportunity
नहीं
that you
मिलेगा.
can, talking to every person that you can possibly. You know, you have to go even if you don't feel like it, because you have chosen this character, so you have to live by it.
You're able to do this for 20, 30 years, you're successful.
Yeah.
It's the only upside and it's the only downside that you get to do this. There are parts that I don't generally like that I've started liking after doing it. So let's say he's the photographer, he's the lead photographer, or he's the lead director in some project. You know, there will be lack in a lot of departments. You might not have the best stylist, and you might not have the best graphic guy or the best post production guy. You still need to know and learn how to make it work. तो वो जो lacking है, वो lack को how do you fulfill it? Even though you lack that, a lot of times when you land on sets, there's a lot of unknown people.
Right.
Right, you just don't know them. You need to find a way to connect with them on a personal level so that they also are able to invest in your vision.
Yeah.
You know, you do not want to waste their time and you do not want them to waste your time. So that is why being genuine and authentic in this journey is very important. And being genuine and authentic is not an easy thing, because you will have to work on the insides of you.
It's getting harder and harder each
So
day.
yeah, I have seen a lot of different phases in my life, and I'm sure he has and you have. So it's a lot of work. But is it worth it? If you ask me, it's all worth it in the end.
जेन्युइननेस की बात की आपने. आपको पता है कि आप जेन्युइन हो अपने काम में, राइट? आपका क्लाइंट मोर और लेस कम ही होता है जेन्युइन. दे जस्ट वांट टू गेट समथिंग सम.
Depends on the people actually.
I'm not saying everybody.
The intention.
Intention.
No, intentionally, I think you need to keep it clear. If you want something to work, you'll have to keep very solid. That is why you need a solid foundation to make this work. If you don't have the solid foundation, you cannot scam your way in the creative industry.
What about getting scammed in the creative industry?
Oh, all the time.
क्या क्या scam हुए हैं आपके
All the
साथ?
time. You're promised a handsome amount for for a gig or for a project that you're onto, and then people just fucking disappear. They don't even want the project. They have wasted a lot of your time. A lot of times it's just consultation. You know, they'll the consultation will go on for a week, and then nothing happens. So you need to build systems around these things so that these things do not keep happening again and again and again. I think in every industry there would be obstacles that you need to
मुझे तो
go
लगता है
across.
सब मेरे को तो लगता है सारी जगह सारे चोर बैठे हुए हैं.
One very common thing which happens is, can you lower the price?
Oh, we'll get you a lot of projects.
I get a lot of work.
Yeah. We are gonna work insanely, bro.
100 साल काम
Yeah,
करें.
yeah.
When we are working with someone, we also decide if we also want to work with them. Secondly, obviously there is a passionate side to whatever you're doing. A lot of times we don't get to use that on commercial job. When it comes to that, either your shoot is transactional or you're doing it out of a relationship with someone that you built with the person. So if it's strictly transactional, you keep it strictly transactional. It's not in a way where you lose yourself in it. I don't mean that you start scamming people, but your mindset needs to be, see, you can't lose your own beliefs and values just for getting a gig or just to service someone. Keep your own integrity and still keep doing what you love, and find that balance of, maybe if you want to just shoot something which is just transactional value to you, you take your money, do it. If you're okay with it, do it. If you're not, don't. Scams, yes, people have come up and done stuff like, we'll promise you a lot of work, फिर नहीं हुआ है. I did a shoot. The shoot turned out great. They didn't want to pay initially. I agreed to it, so I'm not saying it's a scam. I agreed to do it because I saw that, okay, it's a good shoot. I want to do it. It's interesting enough. I did it. The shoot turned out really well, and then they wanted to use the images for hoardings. Today you tell me that I'm going to use this only on social media or only on or say my website or something. Shoot बहुत अच्छा हो गया. Now I want to use. Now they're like, okay, it's come out great. I've got a budget. Or sometimes they just hide this fact from you. I want to use it now on hoardings or on in store. A lot of times I don't even know that they printed it out and put it somewhere, and then I get a picture from the model, or the model send me the picture. उसने उसको किसी ने भेजा है कि भाई ये तो होर्डिंग पे लग गया है.
पैसा नहीं दिया.
Now pay me.
Let's define red flags, right? Saurav, give me only three red flags. Just 3 red flags कि अगर ये 3 दिख रहे हैं ना क्लाइंट में तो भाग जाओ. For someone who's young, जिसको ज़्यादा पता नहीं है, and I know rules cannot be generalized always, but let's make it general. थोड़ा मेरे को आइडिया तो हो जाए. Okay, I need to be careful about this person now.
If they are talking galaxies in work and offering you peanuts, red flag, avoid. They don't know what they are going for, and you'll be put into a project where you'll face immense pressure, and you would not be able to deliver good work because the expectations are huge and insane. If they try to emotionally disrupt you, if they are making personal comments,
Yes.
if they are making personal comments, you know, on your behavior, on how you look or how you move or how you talk.
तुम
that is
कैसे इंसान
yeah,
हो?
if they cannot accept you the way you are, if they are putting you down, and if they keep themselves on a pedestal, fuck it, don't do it. You don't need to like make peace with it, you know, because that is what I did for a few years initially when breaking into the industry. Changing expectations when a project is running. This
बाद में change हो
this
गया.
has to be one of the biggest red flags, you know, कि आपने शुरू कुछ और expectation से किया, and you know they'll ask for a little bit more. You say yes to it because it does not sound like a big deal to you right now. Which it's not. If the relationship is good, that's not a problem. But the clients who usually ask for more, they keep on asking
They
for
don't
more.
stop.
And after you have delivered the product, they won't be happy with it. Even though the product might look insanely good, when you talk to them, they are just going to show you disappointments.
Munjal, you have any red flags to add there?
Yeah. So as you said, the first point that
Advances. Sorry, one last.
Yeah.
Advances. If you ask for advance, okay, in any line of work, advances should be normalized.
50% तो होना
Yeah,
चाहिए
creative
यार.
industry, everyone is just expecting, oh, yeah, payment तो 3 हफ्ते बाद ही होगा. Then I see so many artists and so many people just crying about money because you did not manage your money well. I have been in that position. I am not in that position anymore because I choose not to work with people who do not see this as an investment. If you are seeing this as an investment, if you have been following me or my brand, then you have to trust in this.
They don't want to let go of that leverage. ना
Right.
जब तक पैसा उनके पास है,
Right.
they have it.
Right. So why would
Trust
I
issue
leave
na
my
at the end
why
of
would
the
I
day.
leave my leverage then?
where they don't see the value that you bring, and sometimes they do see but they are not willing to pay you, or they don't respect your professionalism or your profession enough.
They don't treat you as an equal.
If they don't respect your profession, like भाई तुम खुद उठा के कर लो ना, तो फिर भाई करना तुम्हारे साथ ही है, but I don't want to pay you enough. Maybe they don't have that kind of money to throw around on all of this. I give, okay, you don't pay me, but doesn't mean I want to reduce my rate. I'll give you a credit period. It's okay, you give me the money after a year, but you give me a PDC or you give me in writing that okay, this is fine with me. They still didn't want to do that. वो ये क्या बोलता है कि नियत नहीं है फिर. That is one red flag. When you're doing great stuff for them and it's working, and when they want to do something better, they don't even look back at you or ask you if you are able to do that. Same thing, they'll go to someone new and try to, and they'll overpay them again. So that is another thing. Third is if they just take your work for granted, if they keep putting you on tight deadlines, when you know it is
Right.
technically not possible.
Right. Very big, very
So
big.
something like even
red
something
flag
like
for sure.
edits, अभी humanly अगर possible नहीं है. Sometimes you can't deliver within certain deadlines, and there has to be a margin of failure also accounted, because you can't expect someone to sit non-stop for 10 or
This is a
12 hours.
client awareness problem, though.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
they should
awareness
be
है, they
knowing.
don't care maybe. Maybe they
They
don't
not
care.
even care. Sometimes they don't understand. For an editor, it's not his baby, right? It's a job that he's got. It's not उसका personal passion नहीं है कि वो 12 घंटे बैठ के करने वाला है. And it's a tedious task, even editing. You get bored. You get screen fatigue. You get so many
It
things.
takes so much from yourself to do
Yeah,
it.
even if it's like a labor, like a task, like you just have to do. You don't have to think. You have to just do it. A lot of times, people get screen fatigue. बहुत चीज हो सकता है. Your head will start paining. You'll have to stop working. So if अगर मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि भाई 10 दिन लगेगा, possible है 10 दिन में ना हो, 12 दिन होगा. One thing is obviously you can mitigate this by telling them that by this is what I'm expecting, पर इतना लग सकता है. But if you can't be considerate enough of other people, that could be a red flag. And one more last thing I would like to say. First thing, where he said if they don't give good budgets and all of that, I would still put it in another way where if you try to educate them, a lot of time they might not want to, or they
right.
might not know कितना जाएगा. That's why they might just be comparing 2-3 जन का
Apples to
budget.
oranges, basically.
So, but you cannot take that. You need to then
आपको push तो करना
educate them
पड़ेगा.
कि this is what your vision is. This is what it is going to take. अभी वो उनको मानना नहीं मानना is a trust thing.
That is a
But
thing,
if you trust and you all both have that trust set, then if you try and educate them, and if they're still like नहीं नहीं ये नहीं करना है, और जैसे कि नहीं इसमें बिठा दो कैसे भी, so it's going to, first thing that I'm as a creator I'm going to cut corners is on probably the amount of time I put into that project. अगर फिर भी नहीं, if it's not cutting, I still have to cut corners somewhere. It's going to be on the quality of the lighting or the equipment or the.
And then they will not be happy. Then they will be.
At the end, you're setting up yourself for failure,
Yes,
right?
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
I think that one is a big red flag for me. अगर मैं समझा रहा हूँ और फिर भी नहीं समझ रहे कि
If they do not position you where you have positioned yourself, then fuck that shit.
Then you're not aligning.
alignment नहीं है, right? इधर alignment और trust नहीं है कि मैं जो बोल रहा हूँ शायद वो सही है. A lot of time they like go ahead, घूम फिर के आओ फिर वापस. Like what else can you do?